Hello, my dear friends. How are you? I'm so happy you're here today. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to the podcast. Special welcome. If it's your very first episode and decision fatigue just called out to you, you're like, yes, that is me. That sounds like something I need to listen to. Yeah, you're not alone. As always, these podcast episodes come from not only listener ideas, questions, comments about topics they'd like to hear, but also from my own life and experience. And decision fatigue is very real. So we're going to hop into that in just a moment. I just want to let you know for the entire month of August, I'm running a podcast review giveaway. So, as a listener of the podcast, you're eligible because you're already listening, hopefully loving the podcast. Very simple to enter. All you have to do is give a review wherever you listen to the podcast. If it's on Google Podcasts or Spotify or Apple, some platforms give the option to leave both a star review and a written review. Others are just a star review. So, whatever you can do, if you have the option to do a written review, that would be awesome. So, just please leave the review and screenshot it. Then email it to me, Brittany at healthycatholicmoms.com, and you are entered. So I am going to run it all of August, and all the entries that come to me via email, I will just take all those names, put them in a random online generator, and then I'll announce the winner on it ends up being like the second podcast of September because I looked at the calendar and was like, I'm not going to make that by September 1st. I want to give till August 31st to let all the entries come in. And then I've got to, record the winner and announce it on the podcast. So give it till that first, that next week of September, but I'll announce it on the podcast. I will let the winner know via email. And most excitingly here, what you win is a $25 Amazon gift card, which most of us can put to very good use. So don't delay. Pause me right now. It just takes about 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds to do that. Thank you so much in advance and good luck. All right. So decision fatigue. My goodness, I have decision fatigue, honestly, a lot. And I have implemented a lot of these strategies to try to cut down on it. Some I need to get better about. It kind of jogged my memory as I was making this list. But it's just, I think it is an unavoidable thing to some degree. Many of us have read the stat I don't have in front of me about how many decisions moms make in a day. I know that stat is pretty high for teachers as well. And I would guess pretty much anybody who's responsible for like a room full of kids or some scenario where you are the adult making a lot of decisions for a lot of people who are asking you questions. So decision fatigue is very real. And my husband always feels it when like it's a date night or something. And I'm obviously excited. I'm so excited to have like one-on-one adult time with him and get out of the house. And then he'll be like, where do you want to go? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just don't want to pick. So just pick. Like we even be at the restaurant sometimes and like, what do you want to order? I'm like, just order for me. Not often. I usually have strong feelings about what I want to order, but a lot of times I just don't want to even decide where we're going, what we're doing. So it's just a lot of deciding. And I'm sure that's amplified by how many kids and multiplied by how many kids you have and how many other things you have going on. There's just a lot of decisions. So with many things like this, I'm a fan of automating and making things easier on yourself for the decisions that aren't that groundbreaking, right? That are not going to make or break the way the day goes or anything like that. Some decisions absolutely we cannot automate and are huge and we need to take to prayer, we need to discern and all that, but we don't need to discern, highly our outfit for the next day and those kinds of things. So there's ways we can take the pressure off and hopefully leave ourselves some mental energy for more important things. One thing I will say doesn't really have to do with decision fatigue, but I've shared this in a couple episodes. I just like to do a big ol', it's kind of a vulgar term, but brain dump, like get it out of your brain, all the stuff that's going on. I have to do this probably at least once a week, and it's not at all organized. I don't like always do it at the start of the week or anything like that. I will at the start of the week, I look at like what's to come and I do put into kind of a calendar. A lot of you see me do this if you follow me on Instagram. I will take a picture almost every Sunday, if I remember to, of my meal planning dry erase board calendar. I say meal planning because that's primarily what I got it for, but it's just a dry erase Monday through Friday calendar. And then at the bottom, it just has a spot for the weekend. And I fill in the meals and I take a picture of it and I share it on my stories. And then I go in and I fill in the rest of our week down to like pickup gift for so-and-so, grocery shop Tuesday, whatever. So that my husband and I are both kind of on the same page. My kids one of them can read now. So he can just read the dinner and not have to ask me what's for dinner, that whole thing. So I do that. But Other times, whenever I'm just feeling like the stress, when you feel the shoulders up to the ears, like when that same thing has popped into your head 900 times, like, oh, I have to get batteries or whatever, I just take on a master list and I get it all out, because that is also helpful just in the mental energy category. Okay. But specifically for decisions, tip number one is to have a rough plan of your meals for the week. Grocery shop accordingly and put a visual somewhere. So you might be a meal planner and you might not. It takes a lot of mental effort to all day think, what am I going to make for dinner? What am I going to make tomorrow for dinner? Oh, I don't have any meat to defrost. And then it can also lead to a bunch of other last minute moves or decisions or things we have to do, like going to the store to get food because we don't have what we need for the dinner that we're preparing and things like that. So get it out of your mind and just jot it down for the week. Does not have to be fancy. Could be generic too. Like you might just put breakfast dinner for Thursday night and you know that you're going to figure it out when you get to Thursday. Like, okay, well, if we have bacon, I'll make that. But if not, I'm going to make a frittata or I'm going to whatever. So big fan of this. I know there's still some pushback and some people I follow and enjoy their content as well just don't like to meal plan because they like to kind of shoot from the hip more. And I get that. And I get that spontaneity. There are times when I don't put out exactly what I'm doing and I just have a rough idea. Like I always kind of have a inventory of what's in my freezer and things like that. So I'll know heading into the week, like I'll probably make some kind of sausage and risotto dish at some point. We almost always do tacos on Tuesday. So I know that one. Like I can do that. I just personally think it cuts down on the decisions if I at least know what I have, the staples that I have. And then I still have some spontaneity. A lot of times I don't actually plan Saturday, Sunday, especially if we are going to be home and around. Like if it's party, I'll just put on the calendar, like we're going to so-and-so's party or we're hosting this Saturday. Actually, we have a pizza party coming up. So like that kind of stuff I know is already done. But Saturday and Sunday are the days I tend to like to make a little more like intricate meals, things that maybe I need to make right away and serve hot rather than have ready to go for after T-ball or whatever. So I sometimes on Saturday, Sunday just kind of have again that knowledge of like, oh, okay, there's chicken in the free. I'll just pull out chicken. I'll figure out what to do with it by Saturday night, kind of a thing. Like maybe I'm going to go a sun-dried tomato goat cheese route. Maybe I'm going to go a lemon and caper route, those kinds of things. So you can still have freedom in this, do it how it's going to fit your life and serve you, but don't spend that time all day long thinking, what am I going to make for dinner? What am I going to, oh, are we just going to, and then a lot of times too, we end up just picking up takeout or asking our husband to pick up takeout or something. And it's more expensive. It's less healthy. So get the meal plan out of your head and on paper or somewhere visual. Okay. Number two, to cut down on decision fatigue is to lay out your clothes the night before and or declutter your clothing. Okay. I'm pretty good about this if I'm getting up to work out and I like usually my husband and I are getting up at the same time, but sometimes I'm getting up before him. So I will lay out the workout clothes or just whatever I'm going to be changing into if I know that I'm definitely getting up before him so that it's not loud. I'm not great about it every single day. And this will be more helpful when we get into a fall routine and we're leaving the house more. It's not just me throwing on a tank top and shorts like it has been most days this summer, then figuring it out later. So especially for those of you who work outside the home day in and day out and need to have some more professional attire or whatever, I think it's really helpful. I know I have friends who do this too, who just pick out their whole week on Saturday or Sunday and just line it up in the closet so that they know what they're wearing all week. And I do think paring down your wardrobe in general, I'm not a minimalist in the clothing department. I don't own 11 pieces of clothing or whatever, the different combinations are, but I think it definitely helps when you don't have a million things calling to you and looking at you when you open your drawer or open the closet to just have like streamlined pieces you really like. It's a lot easier to just get dressed. You could even go a step further of this is why a lot of people just have quote unquote uniforms, like self-imposed uniforms. Think Steve Jobs, I think, was one of those people who was like white t-shirt and jeans or black t-shirt and jeans or something. Might be getting that wrong, but pretty sure it's accurate. There have been other people too who just have a go-to like same button down, like, or just a button down and slacks, or that would never be me. Or usually in my case, it's some kind of shirt and leggings if I'm around the house a lot. But whatever it is, that's also helpful to just minimize the decisions. Okay. Number 3, this one's really, really big. Automate your cleaning / house maintenance systems. We're going to talk a little more about systems later on this month too, but, and I put AKA have one. So this is really big. And this hit me when I was a newer mom and even a newer like homemaker wife in general, of like, when do I clean what? And because I didn't really have a system, I was like, oh yeah, I just clean. I was cleaning all the time. Like it was like if I had a spare minute, I feel like this, especially when I had just one kid and then maybe when I had just had my second, I was just cleaning a lot. I've shared that before too, that I would spend a lot of the time and waste a lot of my time cleaning as they were playing with things, like just cleaning what they were already playing with. And now I've way simplified that down to like, nope, there are designated cleaning times in our day of we all pick up the playroom or we all clean up before, and more basic things in place. But talking about like bathrooms, kitchen floor, whatever, all that stuff. If you have no idea when you're cleaning something next, it's the worst feeling in the world when you have a free minute or a free hour or something. Like sometimes this little luxury pops up where my husband's like, oh, I'm going to take the kids to where the park or something, like enjoy an hour. Or he's even this happened a couple weeks ago where he's like, take the day. He had been gone on a golf trip. He's like, take the day and, go do whatever. And I instantly was hit with like, do I go to Barnes and Nobles and read a bunch of books? Do I go for a walk? Do I go to Adoration? How do I do all of the things I want to do in one? And actually, I did a lot of combining that day. I like read a book in peace while I ate lunch at a restaurant with my book. And I did go for a walk and I did go to Adoration. So I did get a lot of those things in like just 3 hours or so. But anyways, it gives you a lot more peace to be like, okay, I know this is starting to look a little cruddy, but I'm going to get to it in 2 days or something like that. Like I get itching with that with the kitchen. I deep clean my kitchen once a week. I obviously clean it all the time. Every day I'm doing the dishes. We sweep the floor multiple times a day, that kind of stuff. But I start itching to like wipe down all the cabinets, like vacuum out the drawers, that kind of thing. I'm like, no, Brittany, wait till Thursday. And it can be Thursday or Friday usually for me. But I'm like, nope, hold off. And otherwise you're just going to be cleaning all the time for things that you could literally spend your entire life cleaning if you have kids. And I'm sure you've already seen this. So get a schedule down, whatever works for you. If it's one room a day, if it's one day of deep cleaning, if it's like one task a day, like you do all the windows or you vacuum all the rugs or whatever, find what works for you and your family, farm it out. If you've got older kids or, I know any age kids can technically clean. I have my 2-year-old wipe down his own crib, that kind of thing, but just get a system for it. Okay. Number 4, set your workouts before you do them. Oh my word. This is really big. I think a big barrier to entry, and James Clear talks about this a lot in the book Atomic Habits. He talks about removing the obstacles as being like half the battle to actually accomplishing what you want to accomplish. And it definitely makes sense because we can find any little thing like, well, I was going to run, but I couldn't find my sneakers. So then I didn't run and or I was going to work out, but I couldn't figure out what workout I was going to do. By the time I did, I only had 15 minutes instead of 30 minutes. So, the list goes on and on. So yes, I have multiple programs that might be a good fit for you. Pregnancy, postpartum, if that's your season. The 8-week program is going to be kicking off in about a month, which is more of a teaching program. We have our monthly workout group too, the Chasing Greatness group, which is primarily focused on workouts because I assume that most people coming into that group have done the 8-week challenge with me already and learned all the basics to nutrition and strength training in general. But that Chasing Greatness group has set workouts. So there's a PDF. There are workout videos. You just follow along. So you don't have to preset any of the work. It's just, okay, I need 25 to 35 minutes to work out and I'm going to press play and go. If you're doing your own thing, which many of you like to do, plan it out before you do it. Okay, this is going to be upper body day. Even to go to like, when I do this for myself, primarily now I do just do the Chasing Greatness workouts because it's already planned out. I already know it's effective and I'm typically filming the next month and that kind of thing. But back when I was going to the gym or something, I would just keep a notes in my phone or a workout journal. If you think that's fun and that would maybe motivate and inspire you too, I would just jot down what I was planning to do that day. So not just upper body, but seated row, dumbbell floor press, dumbbell bicep curl, banded tricep kickback, shoulder press, whatever, and put what I was shooting to do. You're going to be much more apt to just hop in and do it if it's already planned out. A lot of you also like to utilize different videos, like many of you have Pelotons or have the Peloton app or use different Beachbody videos or there's another lady that somebody just told me about the other day on YouTube, and I liked it because it was heavily strength based. So I was like, hey, what do you think about that? And I absolutely get it. So I tell you about my own programs and things like that. And if they're a good fit, absolutely, I can obviously speak to the effectiveness of them. But I get the wanting to switch things up, have somebody else coaching you, that kind of thing. So that's all great. And for mixing modalities and things like that, like, oh, I just feel like doing more of a stretch workout today or something. But pick it before you do it. And I'm talking like down to a Peloton ride. So that, and I've been here just the other day, I have a spin bike in my basement and I just usually do my own spin ride. But I was like, I feel like being motivated by somebody else, distracted by somebody else today. So I did like the free trial of whatever, however long it was on the Peloton app. And I wasted like the first 7 minutes just picking a ride. And I was sitting there and I counted it as my warm up. I did start like the timer on my bike and whatnot, but I was like, okay, like you just wasted 7 minutes. So down to the video before the week starts, just pick what you're doing for the week. So when it comes to it, you can just hop right in. All right. It's always that front loaded work saves you time in the end. Lastly, utilize the power list. So this is something Andy Frisella talks about. The power list being, I believe it's just 3 items for the day, but like taking your absolute necessity must do items, and that's what goes on the list. So we all usually do have some big running to-do list that's like all the minute details too, like take this to the post office, do that Amazon return, like this, that, whatever. But there's some things that are, bigger deals than others and absolutely must get done. So put that on your list at the very top of the list. Again, this kind of goes again with the visual cues. Get it out of your brain, put it on your phone if you want to do that, or put it on paper. But then you can list all the other things you hope to do after. But like top 3 must do's or the world's going to stop spinning kind of a thing goes at the top of your list. So once again, heading back to the idea that it's about automating the not so important things so that you do have time for the important things. It's not, I am not one who wants to make my life just effortless and wants, remote control everything. So that I wave my foot under my car door and it opens with groceries. And then I have a keyless entry to my house. And then I talk and the radio comes out and I use AI to make recipes or something. Like I don't do any of those things I just mentioned. Okay. So I do not think, I think hard work and effort and all that is great. I also think it's good to be good stewards of our mental energy and to be mindful that we do have human limits and that, we can get some of these things on autopilot so that we have more bandwidth for the really important things that we want to give more of our time, attention, and energy to. I mean, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Like instead of wasting 20 minutes trying to pick out an outfit, you already know what you're wearing. So then you have that extra 20 minutes to go play catch with your kid in the yard or to read a book you like or something. Like it's just freeing up more margin for us typically. All right. I hope that is helpful and maybe you can take a couple of these things and apply it. Don't forget about the podcast review giveaway. So if you didn't do that yet, do it now. And I am excited. Next episode, we are chatting about exactly. Next episode, I knew it was coming up soon, but we're going to talk about systems. Okay. So join me for that. And until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you next time.